This video is sponsored by the Ultimate Freelancing Bundle by StudyWebDevelopment.com, which gives you everything you need to start your own freelancing business, including a 130-page in-depth guide, invoicing and client proposal templates, website templates, an SEO checklist, and much more. Visit the link in the description and use the code BRAD25 to get 25% off. Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this video, we're going to take a look at 30 different blogs and podcasts for web developers. And I'm a big fan of resources. Anything I find that I think can help us become better developers and just better people in general, become more informed, I'm a big fan of. So I wanted to put this list together, and it's all up-to-date blogs and podcasts. You're not going to find anything where the last post was written in 2017 or 2016. Everything is current and still being added, posts still being added, episodes still being added. So we're going to take a look here. This is a Medium article that I created, and I'll put the link to this in the description. This has links to everything that I'm going to mention. It's not a top 30 list, so nothing is in a specific order or anything like that. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one, which is Smashing Magazine, and they've been around for a while. It's a pretty popular site. They have great resources for front-end HTML, CSS, JavaScript, a bunch of other front-end technologies, frameworks, stuff like that. You'll also find stuff on like design patterns. For instance, right here, designing experience to improve mental health. Anything with this kind of stuff I'm a big fan of. Anything that has to do with like soft skills and struggles that developers go through, stuff like that, I'm a big fan of. So there's a lot of great articles here. They also have a job board. They have events and books and all types of stuff. So it's a great site to follow. Next, we have David Walsh. Okay, this is davidwalsh.name, and I just found this site maybe 2 weeks ago, and there's a lot of different, there's actually videos and stuff like that as well, but it's mostly like modern JavaScript stuff, so ES6+. As you can see up here in the menu, you can see promises, Fetch API, React, Node.js, even jQuery. If we look at Node.js, you'll see a bunch of really cool posts with a lot of information. So if you're a JavaScript developer, whether front end or full stack, I would definitely suggest checking out this davidwalsh.name. So next one we're going to look at is Scotch.io, which one of my favorite sites for written tutorials. I do prefer to learn through video, but they do have a lot of really good written tutorials that are really up to date. So you can see all the categories up here. A lot of JavaScript, front end and back end. Also PHP, Laravel. There's stuff on just authentication, APIs, code challenges, and so on. Now they do have premium courses. Like if I click on React, up top here will be their premium courses, but all of these tutorials down here are free. So these are all written. They do have some free video stuff as well. It's all very up to date. You can see Next.js. They have like AWS stuff and deployment. What else? Debugging. Build a React in Google Maps app. I've actually gotten quite a few ideas from this site as well. So definitely worth checking out if you like written stuff. So Tuts Plus is another tutorial site. There's also premium courses, but all of these are free, and there's all different categories. It goes beyond web development to photo, video, business, music, and audio, all types of stuff. So if we go to code, you can see all the different categories. So there's PHP stuff, JavaScript, even Swift, Android. So if I go to JavaScript, you'll see all these tutorials here. So stuff to do with like serverless GraphQL and AWS. So everything is very up to date. So definitely worth checking out. A List Apart. This blog has been around for a long time. I remember looking at this blog when I was learning CSS, and that's mostly what it is. It's CSS styling, typography, responsiveness, stuff like that. So if you want to go beyond using Bootstrap and you want to be able to write elegant CSS, this is a really nice blog to follow. Cats Who Code. This is actually a very, very diverse blog. There's a lot of different stuff here, not just to do with development, but also business, SEO, stuff like that. So right here you can see web design mistakes that'll cost you conversions. They have a lot of WordPress stuff. This is an excellent site for freelancers to follow. So if you have your own business, you deal with clients directly, you need practical solutions, this is a fantastic blog to follow. So next we have Superhero.js, and I love the style of this site. I really do. I like the look of it. So this site actually has, it's very nicely laid out. You can see there's different categories: understanding JavaScript, organizing your code, testing your application. The thing is, these aren't on their site. Like if I click on this link right here, it'll take me to a blog post on another site, which is fine. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter where it is, but it's not all in one place. So if I click here, some of these are like videos, some are GitHub repositories, some are blog posts, but they do lay out things very nicely and very organized. All right, so next we're going to look at CodePen, okay? And I'm sure a lot of you guys know what CodePen is. It's a place to basically store your front-end code, but they also have a blog. And what I really like about this blog is the challenges. As you can see, there's different challenges. So right here, CodePen challenge masks. So they basically tell you what to do, and they also give you, they'll tell you how to participate. They'll give you some ideas and some resources to kind of push you along and help you out. So I really like that about the CodePen blog. So the next one is planetpython.org, and this is obviously a Python-based blog. It's quite advanced in terms of some of the topics and some of the syntax that they cover. They do cover frameworks like Django and Flask, as well as deployment and DevOps with services like AWS. There's Python news. The style of the website isn't that great, but there's a lot of helpful news and information. So if you're a Python dev, it's something that you may want to check out. So next we have developerdrive.com, which is, there's a lot of different topics here, a lot of different languages that they focus on. So if we look at articles, we have like CSS, HTML, Java, JavaScript, jQuery, mobile apps, MySQL, things like security and tools. So it's just a very well-rounded blog for developers, stuff like productivity, Unix file permissions. So they have a lot of unique content that's very helpful for just about any kind of developer. All right, so next we have Simpleprogrammer.com, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of. Simple Programmer, also known as John Sonmez, has a popular YouTube channel. It used to be more on programming. Now he's kind of taken the self-help route, bettering your life in general, not so much just as a programmer. But Simpleprogrammer.com is still going on, and it's still it's all programming related. I wouldn't say it's like tutorials or anything like that, but stuff to kind of help you in your life. How programmers can survive on the gig economy, stuff like that, freelancing stuff, business stuff, just how to better your life in general. So definitely something that can be pretty valuable. So next we have Specky Boy. So Specky Boy is more of the web design category, with posts on things like CSS, graphic design. They have some WordPress stuff. They focus more on the look and feel and the user interface rather than programming languages and frameworks and stuff like that. So if you're into design, it's a good blog to follow. Laravel Daily. So this is, of course, related to the Laravel framework, which is a PHP framework. So if you're a Laravel developer, this is a must. They have articles about, different features, configurations, deployment of Laravel, any news related to Laravel. So it's a pretty nice blog. Next, we have the Github blog. So this mostly focuses on GitHub-related news and topics, but GitHub is a huge part of most developers' workflow. So it's always good to know what's going on, things like news and events, integration with software, security, and stuff like that. All right, so that's blog.github.com. Next, we have dzone. So dzone features articles on a huge range of topics. They talk about development with multiple languages, DevOps, databases. Up here you can see integration, microservices, performance, security, just about everything related to web development you can find on this blog, and this even like AI, agile, big data. So all the things related to web development that you can think of. So Ringstack. Ringstack is a development blog geared towards Node.js and server-side JavaScript. They have technical articles on things like debugging, integrating with other technologies or integrating Node with other technologies, building microservices, and more. This is a must for any Node developer. Next, we have SitePoint. Okay, SitePoint is awesome for learning. It's similar to Scotch and Tuts Plus. There's articles, videos, books. They do have a premium account as well. And a lot of their stuff is premium, but they do have some pretty nice free content. So, and this has really changed a lot since the last time that I've looked at it. But if we go, let's see, down here, I believe all of these are free. So if I go to JavaScript, yeah, featured articles. So build a REST API with Node and OAuth. If we take a look at that, you can see the code examples are really nice, really clear. So definitely another great learning site. LogRocket. So LogRocket is actually a bug reporter. I think it's an extension, a Chrome extension, but it helps with debugging. But they do have a really cool blog that has a lot of stuff ranging from JavaScript to CSS to even things like WebAssembly, REST APIs. I just discovered this blog, but I made sure I bookmarked it because there seems to be a lot of useful information here. So that's blog.logrocket.com. Next, we have the React blog. So React is arguably the most popular front-end JavaScript framework, and if you develop in React, I would suggest following their blog for latest features, news, integrations, things like that. The posts aren't as frequent as other blogs, but each post is extremely important if you build and manage React apps, because it's usually some pretty big news. Like if when Create React App 2 was released, it's going to tell you all about that. When a new version of React is released, it'll tell you about that, or a new feature. So definitely, if you're a React developer, bookmark this blog. Ode to Code. This mostly focuses on Microsoft-related development like ASP.NET, Azure, things like that, C#. This is an area where I don't have a ton of experience. I'd like to learn more in the future. I've looked at some of the posts here, and they seem pretty interesting and easy to follow. So next we have Tutorialzine, and this is a fantastic resource for articles and tutorials. It's mostly front-end, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, as well as things like Bootstrap and Sass. They also offer freebie themes and plugins every so often, so it's a really good resource for front-end developers. All right, so these next three here are all newsletters. JavaScript Weekly is a very, very popular newsletter. I'd highly recommend subscribing. It's every week. You only get one email a week. I subscribe to it. I've even been featured in it quite a few times for stuff that I've done on YouTube. But it's always like the most relevant and just the most modern stuff in JavaScript. Okay, like the best blog posts, videos, stuff like that's released. I think it's that week. Front-end focus, so this is similar. I think it's even, as you can see, the landing page is almost identical. I think it's by the same creators of JavaScript Weekly. I could be wrong on that though, but they have topics like HTML, CSS, WebGL, Canvas, browser technology, and more. So another weekly newsletter you may want to subscribe to. And then we also have the responsive design newsletter, which is a weekly roundup of topics like responsive design articles, tools, tips, tutorials, and more. They also have a blog, but it seems to be a little outdated. If we go to archive, so right here you'll see the last post was in 2016, but the newsletter is up to date. All right, so now we're gonna touch on podcasts. So JavaScript Jabber. This is actually, the website is at devchat.tv. Those are the creators of it, and they talk about the latest and greatest in JavaScript, any new features that are added. They discuss topics like functional programming, design patterns. They also feature interviews with some very prominent developers. The episodes are they're a decent length, but it's really good content, so it's worth it. So the next one is Boga World, or Boga World. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a podcast that's hosted by Paul Bogue and Marcus Lillington. Their content varies in terms of technology, but it's all geared toward development, designers, and even just people that maintain their own websites. Next is the Changelog, which is one of the biggest development podcasts. And they talk about things like REST, GraphQL, DevOps, cloud hosting. Lots of discussion on the most cutting edge technologies. It's language agnostic, so it doesn't matter if you're a JavaScript developer, a Python developer, whatever language you specialize in, you'll find this pretty helpful, and it's also pretty entertaining. And they do have a weekly newsletter as well. All right, so the Big Web Show. This is actually an award-winning podcast hosted by Jeffrey Zeldman. It covers a variety of topics, including all types of web technologies, design and art, content strategy. I think out of all the podcasts I mentioned, this one is geared more towards design and content rather than actual programming, which is why it reaches such a wide variety of, or a wide spread of people. So this Laracast snippet, this actually is hosted by one of my favorite online instructors, Jeffrey Way. In fact, I owe a lot of what I know to that guy. What I love about these episodes is he gets into the self-help world of like a web developer's life. And many of you guys know that that's something I've done quite a few videos on. I think it's really interesting. I don't think it's talked about enough. You can see developer fitness, stream of consciousness, overdoing it. So he talks about like programmer burnout, stuff like that. One thing I did notice is the last episode that's featured here was in July, so I'm not sure if he stopped this or what, or maybe it's just not listed here. But yeah, I've listened to some of these down here, and they're really good, and I really enjoy pretty much anything Jeffrey Wade does. All right, so next is Shop Talk. So Shop Talk is it's based on front end UI UX. It's hosted by Chris Coyer and Dave Rupert. And they have a special guest on every week. I actually haven't had the time to listen to this one, but I've heard good things, and I plan to dive into some of these episodes at some point when I find the time. All right, so last but not least, in fact, if you're any kind of JavaScript developer, this is probably the most valuable resource on here, at least in my opinion. Syntax FM is hosted by Wes Boss and Scott Tolinsky. Both of these guys are online instructors and YouTubers and just geniuses when it comes to explaining things like ES6+, React, GraphQL, Node.js, tooling, and much more. There's probably only like 3 episodes that I haven't listened to yet. They both have great personalities. They're very down to earth. And I don't just listen to Syntax for just education, but also for entertainment. They also speak in a way that's really easy to understand. Some of these other podcasts are a bit nerdy, but I feel like Wes and Scott are just 2 normal guys that just have a passion for this stuff, much like myself. So I think that's it, guys. Hopefully you'll find at least some of these helpful, and hopefully they help you in your career and become a better developer and just give you some entertainment. All right, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, one of the best, if not the best resource I can refer you to for starting a freelance business is at studywebdevelopment.com/freelancing. The creator Kyle shared it with me, and I can personally vouch that this bundle is well worth it. You get a 130-page guide to freelancing, and it comes with things like invoice templates, client proposals, HTML and CSS templates, a portfolio website, access to a private Facebook community, and much more. So use the code BRAD25 to get 25% off today.